Picture this. Innocent people in the Middle East. They're having dinner. A bomb is dropped on their house, and they're all killed. What's the problem with this? It's being done by white men. I am Jeremy Kaufman, the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton and candidate for United States Senate. It is time to diversify the murderous military-industrial complex. We need to make the nukes gay. And that's why I'm running for office. Like my fellow Democrats and Republicans, I will support every war. I will support stealing billions of dollars from Americans to kill innocent people, but we are gonna make it so gay. It will go down in the history books. We will say never have so many genders and so many races killed innocent people. Let's bomb Yemen, but let's make sure a rainbow of skin colors are dropping those bombs. These are gonna be the gayest transist murders the United States has ever performed. That's what I stand for as the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton, and that's what I'll do once elected to the United States Senate. I'm Jeremy Kaufman, and I'm gay for this message. I'm serious.
Today's show is sponsored by libertarian conspiratorial fantasy author Jack Casey. Whether you're looking for a 3-book fantasy sci-fi epic of love, death, and dystopian civil war like the Royal Green series, or just looking for a quick, dark, comedic cultural commentary tale about a transsexual slayer of COVID regime vampires, like his latest book, WVW, Jack Casey Books will keep you adequately entertained and pondering the universe to your weird little heart's content. He's the Ayn Rand meets Stephanie Meyer meets somebody who actually writes entertaining books with his own unique little downer-esque flair. Find out more about Jack Casey Books at the aptly named jackcaseybooks.com. Once again, that is jackcaseybooks.com. Have you guys heard of Matt Miller? He's not only the guy who paints those amazing portraits of all your favorite heroes in the liberty movement and in pop culture, but he's also now an official sponsor of this show. From Murray Rothbard to Ron Paul, Dr. Robert Malone to Darth Maul, Matt Miller's Liberty Portraits has something fun for everyone to spice up your home or office and showcase your heroes. Go check out his incredible work at libertyportraits.com. Grab a print to impress your friends, hire him for a custom portrait, or bring him out to a festival to capture your event in real life in a beautiful and unique way. To find out more, just head over to libertyportraits.com. Once again, that is libertyportraits.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It's The System Is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, everything that's happening in the world, and we watch the world burn and share a good old laugh at it together. I've got a very special one for you today, a very special guest that we'll get to in just a moment. Kill the music. It's horribly distracting. Thank you. We'll get to him in just a moment, but before we do, I have to remind you guys about my first and favorite and foremost beloved sponsor, and that's you guys in the Downers Club. People like Johnny Douglas, Adam Choate, Donald Villa, Danielle, Ryan something, Patrick, Gid Kid, Chris Magoo, Gremlin 666, Mike Stonehouse, Cole, Hefflums, Woozles, Lauren Carter, Level 0, Van.media, Carolina, Bay, Jack Casey, a bunch of people. If you want to get your name on that list and possibly have it read incorrectly, go on over to patreon.com/The System Is Down, and you'll not only get your name on that list, but you'll get access to the after parties, the live streams, all the bonus stuff, endless amounts of bonus content, more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content. Yeah, bonus stuff, if I didn't make that clear. For as little as $5, that is the cost of one super chat a month, and since YouTube hates me so much that they will never, ever let me super chat, ever, just do a nice thing. And for only $5, you can get a whole bunch of extra content every single week at patreon.com/The System Is Down. And for even only $1, you can get the after party live stream. And then it goes behind the $5 paywall. But go get it. Join the club. do all that fun stuff and support the show. I would appreciate it greatly. But yeah, we're gonna get into some news. Lots going on in the world. But I can't do it without this intro thing that I do. Let's get weird.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he really means that.
Half of Trump supporters do what I call activist support.
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth! I remember that with that smoke! We are still here!
We have to say yes to socialism.
Bet you want to know tomorrow.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
It is indeed a big club, and you are not in it. But Jon Schweppe's in it. Jon Schweppe, freshly off of
I'm not in it.
off of his starring role on the Timcast podcast or something. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but Jon Schweppe, who got his he's most famous for coming on this show to talk about Kanye West conspiracy theories and stuff like that. That is his claim to fame. But he is back here now. John, how are you, sir?
I'm good. No, Dan, you gave me my start in weird podcasts.
Never forget who made you.
I will never. But great to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. And I'm not just having you on because of the Timcast stuff, but it did remind me that I haven't had you on in a while. The abortion stuff has always been a big thing that you guys have covered over there at APP. And we are going to talk about that a bit today. We talked about it last week too. It won't be the main topic, but we are going to get into it, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. But give a little bit of background on you for the people who aren't familiar. Just who are you, what do you do, and why do we care?
Well, I'm just a working class boy from Aledo, Illinois. But no, I
represent.
Small town boy living in a lonely world. But yeah, no, I work out here in American Principles Project. We're a conservative group in DC. We focus on fighting for the family on a number of issues. You mentioned abortion, also some of the crazy woke stuff that's being pushed in schools, big tech censorship, election integrity, all sorts of things. And so I'm our policy director, and I do some stuff, and it's pretty cool.
And you overturn Roe versus Wade single-handedly, correct?
Single-handedly.
So you're to blame. You're to blame for all women's rights going straight out the window.
One of the things about this is that a lot of voters who plugged their nose to vote for Donald Trump in 2016, this was literally the reason why.
Yeah.
We're hoping that this is something that could be done, and we are, weeks away from it actually happening.
Now, I have heard, we'll get deeper into some Roe v. stuff later, but I have heard some pushback of people saying, well, all the walk away people are going to walk away from the Republicans now because they're all pro-choice or whatever. Like, that was the one thing that they left the Democrat Party because they agreed with Trump on other things, and they're like, nothing's ever going to happen with abortion anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. Do you have any concerns of this having that backswing?
No, not really, because I think once people realize, if you look at polling, like, people are against Roe being overturned, but that's mostly because I don't think people know what Roe is. Basically, what's going to happen is states are going to be able to vote on their abortion laws again, and I think that's going to end up being pretty popular. So, if you live in Arkansas, you're going to be able to have a ban on abortion, and if you live in California and you want to abort a baby that was born 3 months ago, I guess that's your right. But that's effectively what's going to happen after this. There's still a lot of fighting ahead. Abortion as an issue is not going anywhere. But I think this kind of sets the stage for us actually having this conversation rather than just deferring to 9, Ivy League people in black robes.
Yes, absolutely. Now, more importantly, obviously much more importantly than abortion is you were on Timcast, as I mentioned, and that happened. Now, how do you feel that went for you?
It was okay. It was my first one. Like one of the things, I just started really doing a lot of media after COVID hit. And so I was starting to do it a little bit in 2019, but I wasn't. And so I'm used to doing media like this, where I'm in my office,
right.
I have a little ring light up here. This isn't actually that great because the background's like screwing it up.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but we've got low bars here.
I got my Bitcoin mine. I know. But I'm used to doing this. This is pretty easy. It's a little bit different in person because you have to know what to do with your hands, like, not itch your ear, like all sorts of things like that. So I found it a little bit challenging. Tim is super interesting, a pretty bold, aggressive personality. One of the things I thought that was weird for me is that I consider myself an extrovert, but I think I was the least extroverted of the 4 people on the show.
Right. Yeah.
And so I looked at the comments, which is probably not the best idea, but I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, he's a dud. He's not talking." It's like, well, I just don't want to interrupt. Like,
right. That's how that show is. And I'm cutting you off to say this, obviously, of course. That's how that show is. It's just like, Tim always talks about, we have to do it in person. Otherwise, if it's online, people are just talking over each other. But then he talks over his guests like 90% of the time. But
well, he's got strong opinions. Yeah. But I'll tell you, he was great. Lydia was great. Really enjoyed being on the show. I'd love to go back. Maybe we'll see if I get invited back.
Sure.
It was good. We had some good conversation. It was right after the Roe thing, so we were talking a lot about abortion and that sort of thing.
I was actually surprised how little y'all talked about abortion.
It was in the
after show you did, but in the main show, I was watching the main show live, and I was like, are they even gonna talk about abortion with the APP guy who's all about, not all about abortion, but all about this thing? But,
no, I was a little bit, and this is where I got to learn how to do this and assert myself better. And so, maybe I'd do it better a second time. But, I wanted to talk about big tech and the censorship stuff in Section 230. And we ended up talking
about the code. Just release the code, bro. Just release the code.
He is very cool. I actually really like him. I know we probably disagree on a lot. But, I just didn't we didn't really talk about that. We talked about, one of the bills that me and the other guests disagreed on. About journalism and that sort of thing, and we talked about it for like 20 minutes, and that was pretty much all we did on tech. So I was a little disappointed by that, but otherwise I thought it was okay. And my parents are like huge Tim Pool people. He's their source for news, so nice. It was a huge deal for them. They were really excited.
Yeah, we need more boomers listening to people like Tim. I mean, at least Tim, and if we can get them farther along, even better. But I do like Tim. I enjoy his show, and I listen to it regularly. And like I said, I watch the bonus show, so I do pay him even. But we're not here to talk about Tim. We're here to be Tim and do our own thing of talking about the news. And
right.
John, it's been a while since you've been on here, and this is kind of the news show where we make fun of the news. Are you familiar with this format at all?
I think I was on this show with you once because I remember you bringing up a lot of news stories, and I would just say, don't have much to say on that.
oh, I disavow.
So we might get a redo of that.
Yeah. Would you like to lead off this episode by disavowing as per your usual?
Right out of the gates, I disavow every conspiracy theory except for the ones that turn out to be true later.
That's right. You were on the kickoff of Hail Meta stuff, like back in the early days of Hail Meta. I remember that now. And I also could not get you to. I was texting John during Tim's show, just saying, just slip in one Hail Meta. That's all I need. Like just say it passively. And Tim brought up Meta at one point, and
I missed it.
You missed it. There was that tiny window that God gave you, and you were like, no.
No, I was ready to shill for this show and everything. I didn't bring talking points in, which maybe I should have done, but if we were going to talk about censorship at any point, I was going to talk about how insane it is, that not only has big tech gone after your show, but they've gone after your wife's business.
Right. Yeah.
Which is absolutely nuts. But no, we didn't get to talk about that. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe I'll No. Well, I won't get on there. But anyway, let's talk.
We go together.
What?
We could go together. You got to come out here, and
Mm.
we'll go on together. You'll get me to talk about 9/11 or something.
I obviously I'm down. Just shoot him my number and we'll go from there. Tell him to contact my people and see if we can set it up. See if we can work him in. Anyway, let's talk about some news. Actually, I did want to ask, when you're going on, Tim, does he tell you like the topics that are going to be covered in advance so you can kind of be mentally prepared, or because it kind of is just
we talked a little bit.
scattershot.
We had a little bit of time to prepare. I was there probably 2 hours before we went on. So we talked a little bit about it, but like a lot of them were surprises, and then we also had live news break on air. I mean, Madison Cawthorn had, a tape, I guess you could say. I don't think it counts as the next tape. It was a joke, but, and that news was breaking live on air. So of course we commented on that, mostly on the after show, but yeah, it's just about kind of like being like, okay, ready to talk about everything. And like part of the problem is, and I think I'll do better the second time, but like, I just like to listen to where people are at and then kind of respond to them. And you've learned this as a host. You're not necessarily in real life the most extroverted guy.
No.
But you have to kind of like lead the conversation and all that.
Yeah.
So, it's just something to learn, I suppose.
Sometimes you have to drag your guest along kicking and screaming as you talk about the uncomfortable stuff. Anyway, speaking of, John, do you know who... So we always open with the good news and the happy, touching, heartwarming stories to prepare people for the things to come. But are you familiar with James Cromwell, the actor? Do you know who that is?
That name sounds super familiar. If you showed me a picture, I'd probably know who he is.
It's this guy.
Yep.
The nice, happy farmer from Babe, Pig in the City, and other things like American Horror Story and stuff. But so the heartwarming story for today is he's doing the Lord's work out there. He is putting in the good work for the animals by supergluing his hand to a Starbucks counter in protest of plant-based milk prices. This is him now, gluing his hand.
What is the gluing of the hands? This is like the new protest. This just happened. You probably saw it a couple weeks ago with the Minnesota Timberwolves playoff game. Some lady like went out there and glued her hand to the court, and this is like a new thing they do.
I did not know that was the thing. I missed that one.
Crazy. I don't know why they do it. Like that seems like a really weird way to protest.
This is like next level retarded. Like there's sit-ins and like protests and stuff, but gluing your hand as if you couldn't pull your hand away from it, or if it's like actually keeping you there. Like what is the goal here? What are you accomplishing? And it's funny because he's protesting prices of vegan milk. That's it. Like just your prices of vegan milk are too high. It's like, and you want Starbucks to do what about that? Do you think Starbucks is the one setting the price of vegan milk products? I don't know.
No. Well, I guess we just have to raise the price of regular milk to allow vegan milk to compete, right?
Right. That's going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
Starbucks can't just like I magically make the price of milk cheaper and charge less, but it's such a I don't know, just a first world issue here. You're in a fucking Starbucks to begin with, and you're complaining about the price of vegan milk. Like, good God, could you be more of a like I don't know, literal soy boy? But yeah, we're gonna watch this very brave act.
Save the planet! Save the cow!
Oh, that's loud.
James and John are glued down because Starbucks needs to take this seriously.
Look at all the people there, just really in droves to see this Hollywood actor sitting on a counter with his hand super glued to it. There is nobody here.
No one's there.
Like, there's fewer people here than you would normally expect at a Starbucks on a normal day, let alone with a Hollywood actor gluing himself to the counter. But yeah. Any thoughts on that, John? You got any inspiration gleaned?
I will say, I respect PETA on a weird level. Like they're one of the groups where, all these like far left crazy groups have gained all sorts of credibility now with mainstream institutions, except PETA. PETA is like the one group where people are like, animal rights? That's freaking weird. And
so you respect them just for sticking with it, or what?
No, I mean, it's on a weird. I will say also, I've met several animal rights activists out here. I just find them interesting. Like they're interesting people to me. Like it's like, I kind of get it. I wish he felt the same way about babies.
Right.
But
Are
yeah.
any of them the PETA employees that go and steal people's dogs out of their yard and then euthanize them to save them or something?
I would assume so. I mean, PETA is a crazy, crazy organization.
Yes, they are. It's like they were woke before woke was a thing. And now they're still like upping the bar every year to be crazier than the rest of the crazy people. But
I love they have that sign. I know it's a meme, but they have that sign where it's like, "Where do you draw the line?" And it has like dogs and horses,
right.
and then like chickens, and like in between the horses and the chickens.
Right there,
right.
Yeah, it's
Really
pretty
easy, actually.
Thank you for asking. It wasn't a hard question, but all right. Also, if I was like starving, I would eat any one of them. I don't care. And
right. Yeah.
your people eat babies, so it is what it is. We all have our own diets. But anyway, moving on. John, did you hear? This is an opinion piece, and we're only going to talk about the headline because it doesn't really matter. But from the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. should show it can win a nuclear war.
We did.
Any thoughts on this, John?
I swear, dude, like the people who are like so gung ho on like accelerating this conflict with Russia, like whatever you think about the whole situation, like why do you want this? Like this is insane. And I've seen so many dumb people. I mean, this is in the Wall Street Journal. I've seen it in the New York Times. Supposedly smart elites that are like, we should actually probably launch a nuke. Like, let's see what happens. And that's just really
we know what happens though. It's not like it's a mystery what happens when you launch a nuke. We know.
I mean, any normal person reads this headline and it's just like, we know we can win. Like,
right.
Watch what happens if someone nukes us. Like, it's gonna be really bad.
And the only way you can show that you can win is if they fight back with nukes as well, which I don't feel like anybody wins in this conflict. But let's do it just to prove that we can. And this is a headline Donald Trump would write. We have to show them that we can win in a nuclear war. Whoa, hey, settle down. But
remember though, he's the one that we had to worry about,
right?
With the nuclear, football. Like he might nuke him. Which I mean, Donald Trump probably would say, "Hey, Vladimir, might nuke you, so
right.
We don't do this." And then Putin would be like, "Okay, there's like a 10% chance he's serious. So fuck, what do we do?"
Instead, we have Biden going out and like finishing up his State of the Union with "Go get him," and everybody's like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
But Biden's the total opposite. I guarantee you, if Putin even takes his calls, like he's on the phone, like, "Hey, this is the line I won't cross. Like, you do whatever you have to do. I'm gonna have to talk tough."
Right.
And it's like, no, you have to actually have that. I mean, with Nixon, they called it the madman theory of like, if the American president is thought to be insane, maybe don't do insane things that might provoke a reaction. But with Biden, I think the only reaction is that he's going to go take a nap at his home in Delaware.
Yeah, he's insane, but not in like the energetic cocaine insane way that you look for in a president.
The sad, like, oh man, dementia's come early for you. I'm so sorry.
If you make it all the way into dementia, we'll be lucky because you survived. Like, we'll be surprised that you lived that long to make it to, as if he's not already. But anyway, speaking of bombs, speaking of bombs, did you hear about Meghan McCain's book?
Oh no.
Meghan McCain's new memoir, Bad Republican, flops with fewer than 300 copies sold. Womp. Womp. And of course, I posted something to the effect of Meghan McCain's dad would be proud of her for such a devastating bombing.
Oh my God. So, in her defense, because I am an establishment hack out here.
Yes, you are.
She said that she did sell more. I think it was like via Audible or something like that.
Shut up. I don't care.
No, it's a funny joke. I respect it.
Yeah.
I really wasn't a fan of her dad. He was kind of...
I mean, are you really shilling for Meghan McCain, John?
Look,
I even my most establishment side
I know.
can't cross. There are some lines I won't cross.
I don't dislike Meghan McCain, but I am a little bit shilling here. But yeah, that was a funny joke.
Gay. Just gay. Speaking of gay, Lori Lightfoot is in the news again. Talking. I guess she's calling.
Great segue. Wow.
Thank you. I'll do it again. Speaking of gay, Lori Lightfoot's in the news. She's calling for gay war, I assume. That's the only way that I can describe this. To my friends in the LGBTQ plus community, the Supreme Court is coming for us next. This moment has to be a call to arms. First off, before we discuss whether or not this is her saying call to arms is an actual call to arms, I have to ask your thoughts on what does LGBTQ plus have anything to do with abortion? Because we've heard Biden say it. We've heard, I think Kamala said something about it. We like the Democrats are going to, if they overturn Roe v. Wade, then suddenly gay kids aren't going to be allowed in school.
Yeah, I think
we're talking about reproduction, and gay people aren't generally known for their reproduction. But what do you think?
No.
Is there a tie here?
Well, first of all, in the Aledo opinion, it says this abortion is a unique thing because we're talking about life, and so that it shouldn't be interpreted to have all these effects on other cases. Like, he's very explicit about that. So that's number one. Number two, I guess the argument is that if the Supreme Court does anything good for conservatives, maybe they'll do a lot of things. The courts have done a lot of things for the left, right? Like, when you look at gay marriage, like gay marriage was an issue that was being decided democratically in the states. It wasn't going so well. Even California voted to ban gay marriage before Obergefell, and then the court, found a right to gay marriage in the Constitution, and then that was it, right? So the court has been how the left has really gotten a lot of what they want. So I think it's kind of interesting now that all of a sudden they're saying, no, you can't, stare decisis, you can't change previous precedent. But, look, this is what we know about the left. They just kind of like make up whatever the principle is. They're really more concerned about the ends. And I guess the ends are gay war. I don't know what that means.
Yep.
It's interesting. So,
gays need to take up arms. Which I think it's funny because they're literally disarming babies, and that's what this is all about. They're ripping their arms off.
Yeah,
so.
See, that's the thing. We as conservatives, we respect the Second Amendment right of babies. I want to provide
Amen.
every fetus with a, frankly, maybe like an AR-15
yes.
at like 2-3 months. And that's what this is all about. The
taxation is theft, but if it's gonna be there, arming babies, I'm down.
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be really good. Got to keep babies safe.
Yep, the tiny heroes.
An abortionist might think twice if they saw an AR-15 pointed at them.
If they saw an armed fetus, yes.
Yeah.
So, I had another point.
That's a good quote to take out of context, by the way. Holy shit.
What?
An abortionist might think twice if an AR-15 was pointed.
Yeah. Yes.
Boom.
Yes.
He's a radical. It's over.
For those that don't know, John is also not a libertarian, and for any of you who are wondering why he's here, 'cause fuck you. That's why. Anyway, John, real quick? Like, I don't want to spend a bunch of time on this, but if they called for overturning like the gay right to marriage, would you be for that or against it?
I want things to be decided democratically. So I think Obergefell was bad because marriage isn't mentioned in the Constitution. So obviously it was just finding a right that wasn't there and saying we're going to have this rule on it. I oppose judicial supremacy. So, I think the best thing to do is have states vote on it. And, we also have the way the United States is set up. I think it's the full faith and credit clause or whatever it is. But, if Iowa passes gay marriage, you have to recognize it in Arkansas, right? So,
yeah.
I thought that the system that we had pre-Obergefell was working out. And, I think if you really support something, you should be able to persuade your fellow citizens that it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same, and I'm the same on Roe v. Wade, too. Kick it back to the states at least. The less federal power, the better. And but mostly, like, I don't care at all about gay marriage. I'm not opposed to it being federally legal. I think that making it federally illegal is completely stupid, but I'm mostly opposed to state-sanctioned marriage in general, and that's the only reason this matters. But
yeah, I mean, if you talk to any, I'm in the social conservative movement. Like, if you talk to anyone out here, like, yeah, we oppose gay marriage. A lot of us do, but like, there's not like an effort to overturn Obergefell. I don't think that this particular makeup of the Supreme Court would be that interested in it. I do think it was badly decided. Like, I'll say that, but that's just because of, what I believe about how the Supreme Court has way too much power. There's even arguments that I think are debatable on abortion. Should we have a Supreme Court decide that there's a 14th Amendment right to life? And I think that's a good argument, but that's one too that I think there's going to be a lot of debate about. And would the result actually be good? Like, you'd probably have California secede over that, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about.
Wherever California wants to go, I'm fine. I'm fine with them going wherever they please.
Further into the Pacific Ocean.
Yes. The further, the better.
I'm rooting for change.
Now, on this tweet in particular, there's obviously the problem with this being a literal call to violence. One would assume if Fight Like Hell from Donald Trump is a call to insurrection, I would think telling people this moment has to be a call to arms is a little bit more on the nose. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my attitude on this is we use a lot of fighting words in our political rhetoric, but the left always holds the right to like some absurd thing where if that was tweeted by, Donald Trump, they'd say that's an incitement to violence and impeach him over it. So
and they'd have a much stronger case than they currently do against Donald Trump.
Right. No, that's right. So I think, that's the thing. They don't even ever mention that, but like Trump was telling people at the January 6th thing to go home, like be peaceful and all that. They never even bring that up. They just say incited violence. But I think with this, it's not great that we're talking like that, but at the same time, I think that has a long history in this country. And so I don't think she meant it literally by guns. But I also think that if Antifa took it literally and went out there and started beating people up and pointing guns, you're not going to see people like Lori Lightfoot condemning that. And I think that's important to know.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. And as much as I don't think she's necessarily literally calling to arms, but I also don't know where that line is for somebody who has condoned violence in the past. Like if you're praising the riots and looting that's going on and giving money to organizations that are doing riots and looting, and now you're saying gay people need to take up arms, that just seems like, I don't know. At the very least, I would say Twitter, if they want to stay a little consistent, maybe Elon shouldn't. I don't know. Should Elon, is this the type of tweet that you think that big tech should censor or no?
No, I'd leave it up because I don't think that this violates the First Amendment. I don't think it's a true incitement to violence. And so I would say leave things up like that and let her get ratioed. I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's debatable whether or not it's a literal call to violence, frankly. But more importantly, she loves her violence. She loves it so much that when the entire rest of the world or the country is saying, well, I guess not, when the Supreme Court is saying, we're overturning Roe v. Wade, we're going to kick it back to the states, she's saying we are going to be just an oasis, a haven of abortions, just left and right, swimming in an abortion fountain. Chicago will be, her word, oasis for abortion if Roe is overturned, Mayor says. So brave, so strong, and God, so beautiful she is. John, you're a former Illinoisan, or I mean, you're always an Illinoisan.
I'm always an Illinoisan because I'm not a Virginian. That's my attitude. I can't be a Virginian, therefore I must be an Illinoisan.
There you go. So so you are familiar with how things work around here in Illinois in the small towns of not Chicago that are lorded over by Chicago. Like, her shit has implications on everything that goes on around here. What are your thoughts on us being the abortion haven?
It's gross. It's gross. I think this is going to be one of the effects of the democratization of the abortion question, is that states are either going to decide to be reasonable, have maybe abortion limits at 6 weeks, 15 weeks, or they're going to decide to become abortion superstores.
Yeah.
And I think Illinois is worried about California and New York kind of monopolizing that, so they're trying to get in early. I have bad news for Lori Lightfoot. I think they're going to lose, right? If you're going to go on abortion vacation, you're not going to go to Illinois. You're going to go to California. Right. So, I mean, good luck, I guess. I'm sure the abortion industry will take advantage of millions of women in Illinois, and she'll do great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes as far as like them pushing out propaganda and promoting our state as the abortion like such a weird thing to like hang your hat on. Like, come if you hate your baby, don't worry. We got you. Elon Musk apparently, I don't have an article for this, but Elon Musk apparently said that he's going to offer to drive people out of state to get abortions if they, can't find them in their own state.
Tesla's doing that. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a weird corporate thing. A lot of the companies, including Tesla, have taken up this policy because, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, these guys want their, young 20-something, early 30-something women. They don't want them having families. That's bad for productivity. They want them to continue to slave away, try their best to become a mid-level HR manager. That's the meaning of life. And this is just the problem with corporate America today. I mean, it's just totally fucked.
Yeah. Magoo says, Tim Pool will say this is the start of the next Civil War for the 987th time.
I caught him on that early because I trolled him about that right before the show.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, John, I'm gonna do it. Like, but I gotta bring up Civil War." And I'll tell you, just to give your listeners who haven't listened to him some context. His opinion is basically that there is going to be a civil war, that it's generational, that as the boomers age out, our generation and the generation under us really hate each other. That war is the only answer. But he also qualifies it with that the right has no stomach for it. And so the right won't be the folks to start it. And I actually totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that if that were true, if we were going to get violent, we would have by now, right?
Yeah.
We would have over abortion. We would have over trans kids. I mean, as insane as that is. And we don't do it because I think by and large, the right is good and the people on the right are good people. And
you mean pussies?
Well, because I don't think it's a winning scenario when you don't have any institutional power. We would get absolutely crushed. Now, I will say, if we're able to win, let's say President DeSantis happens or whatever, and the Republicans take back everything, I guarantee you the left will agitate and try to push for secession. And then the question is, do we let them or what happened? But we'll see.
What are your thoughts on secession? Would you say let them?
That is a challenging question, but that's kind of where I lean, to be honest, because I just don't think...
why would you lean any other direction? We live in a country where we live in completely polar opposite realities. And
because I love Lincoln, and so I think what he did
fuck Lincoln.
was so courageous, was really courageous, and it wasn't popular necessarily. Like, I think a lot of people in the North were saying, let him go. But, I do think we are the United States. Like, this is still the greatest country in the world. I think breaking us up would weaken us. I don't know. I mean, this is something that Hamilton and John Jay and all those guys, well, really just those guys, wrote about in the Federalist Papers, is that if you have 2 or 3 Americas, foreign powers will take advantage. The left, like if California becomes its own country, you might as well have communist China right here, right? Like, I mean, they'll be total allies with them. Mm-hmm. I think it poses a lot of things. So we should try to avoid it. I think the best way to do that is to make the wokes so unpopular that they feel like they have to go into hibernation and bring back the normal Democrats that maybe you could actually vote for one of them.
I think you're asking to apply reason and logic to people who have clearly proven over and over again that they have no interest in reason or logic. But
you're probably right. I'm just trying to white pill people.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
We're going to win elections. Now, that's going to happen. Republicans are going to win elections. Now, if they do anything with it,
they won't.
No, I mean, maybe some. We'll reward all these woke corporations with some more tax cuts.
Yeah. I mean, this is all some very fascinating and scary stuff. Scary times that we're living in. And speaking of scary times, have you guys heard about Astero's penetration testing?
Today's episode is sponsored by Astero's Cybersecurity Services. These days, organizations of all sizes are targets for cyber criminals, disgruntled employees, or even nation-state attackers. Astero's performs cybersecurity services providing expert guidance to help organizations defend against threats and protect their data. Astero specializes in penetration testing, where they perform ethical hacking on networks, web apps, or organizations as a whole to simulate what an attacker would do and plug the discovered holes before anyone malicious finds and exploits them. Asteros also specializes in vulnerability management, security awareness training, phishing simulations, cloud security audits, compliance readiness assessments, and much more. As technology expands, it becomes easier and easier to run a business, but if your security is not growing along with your company, then you're going to run into problems. If you don't personally have a company of your own, definitely pass this information along to someone who does, because for a limited time, Asteros is offering companies an attack surface audit completely free. Let Asteros discover potential entry points to your network and how susceptible your company or organization is to cyber attacks. To learn more and to take advantage of this essential offer, just go to asteros.com/free. That's Asteros, ASTEROS.com/free.
Speaking of scary things, I've heard insurrection is the main concern in our country, and ultra mega MAGA dark MAGA whatever is the bane of our existence, and it's because we know that they're evil because of the January 6th evil insurrection, and now living here in the future, I'm just curious if it counts as an insurrection when Jen Psaki comes out and tells everybody to break federal law and protest outside of judges' houses. John, you've heard of this, I'm pretty sure, because I stole your post.
That is my tweet.
Yes. Let's play it real quick, and then we'll comment on it. 1 second.
That have been peaceful. I know that there's an outrage right now, I guess, about protests that have been peaceful to date, and we certainly continue to encourage that outside of judges' homes, and that's the president's position.
So,
this is insane.
Yeah, and it's something that I feel like most people will just kind of gloss over. I wouldn't have even noticed if people like Tim and others hadn't pointed this out, and you, obviously. But like this is, she just like glosses over when they ask her, do you guys condemn or whatever these people who are breaking the law to do this thing? And I don't know. I'm up in the air on whether or not it should be a law. I understand why it is, but I think there's a debate to be had there. But protesting outside of judges' homes to like sway justice seems like something that we can all be like, yeah, maybe like let's not do that. Like not threaten people into who like hold people's lives in the balance. Let's not threaten them or anything. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, John?
So I'm a big First Amendment guy, and I think that the right to protest is critical. And I generally don't even like free speech zones, right? Like I think that's part of the problem. Homes, I just don't think that this ends well in a democracy. There's two things to consider here. Number one is let's say that I'm Clarence Thomas, so I have to assume that this mob of protesters is not going to throw a Molotov cocktail at any point through my kid's window or whatever. Yeah. I guess Justice Barrett would have to worry about that more because she has kids at home. Yeah. I'm leaving the premises in that scenario because I do not trust Antifa-clad, black-clad protesters to not get violent. We have a record in this country of them doing that. So that's number one. Like you just practically, even if it's just a disturbance or whatever, you can't assume that they'll always stay lawful. Yeah. The second thing is it just doesn't I would oppose any kind of demonstrating outside any elected official's house, right? Like that is your domicile. Mm-hmm. You have a right, I think, to having that property be yours, to not having, noise pollution, all these different things come into your house.
So you're saying you are against people protesting outside of elected officials?
Across the board. Now, this law is in particular about judges. But I would say across the board, I would oppose protesting outside of anyone's home, to be honest with you. I think it's just too dangerous of a precedent to set.
But I don't know. I disagree with you on that one. I think if there's a crime that is committed, that should be handled as... And I know that the cops are really bad at addressing crimes that are handled by these mobs lately, but still, I think it's a worse precedent to say, well, these elected officials are above reproach in public. Like, that's kind of where that leads to. You can't go up and address them in public at all because they are above reproach. I don't.
It's a safety liberty argument, but I think it's encroaching on the person's individual liberty to, you're basically taking away their ability to live there because you can't feel safe in that scenario, especially if you have kids. I think it's less so, but like you can't go to sleep.
Sure.
Right. There's an angry mob outside your house. And I just don't.
How about we limit it to only elected officials? You can protest out there outside their place, and they go into the position knowing that is a possibility if you're a piece of shit.
I think that would only hurt the conservatives, to be honest. I think it would just.
I'm fine with that.
Ultimately, I've done plenty of protests. The right is really bad at protesting.
Yeah.
This is a scenario where, okay, well, shouldn't we be at Sotomayor's house? Shouldn't we be? And the answer is no, we won't do it because, we're not evil. I mean, like that's frankly what it comes down to. But I just
pussy. Gonna keep going back to that.
Yeah. I think
I'm kidding. We're libertarians out here. We're super brave, accomplishing nothing at the moment. So who are we to talk? But no, I can disagree with you, and also think that a lot of Republicans are real soft.
Oh yeah, I'm a softie.
Yeah. Hey, you come on this show, so it's fine.
Then I can't be that soft. Yeah, I'm risking everything.
That's right.
And I've already given. If any of these people are my opponents, I've given them like 3 cancelable lines already. I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys go back and dig up old episodes that Jon was on before he had a career and watched his words, you can find some stuff, especially in the bonus. But anyway, so do you think that would you go as far as to say? I mean, you did basically call it an insurrection in your post. Do you think that's what this is?
Yeah, I think. Look, the Supreme Court is an independent body. This is about coercion. This is about intimidating these people into a decision. The leak was intentional for this purpose. It was to try to stave this off. Right. I don't think that that's how this country works. Now, a lot of the people who are protesting obviously don't even like the Constitution. I think they want a radical revolution anyway. But and I just want to point out, I'm also somebody who thinks that the Supreme Court has way too much power as an institution. And that being said, I just think this is beyond the scope of what should be acceptable in a society like this. And it's just going to end in more violence and more blood because that's where these things are going to go. When people stop believing in democracy and stop believing in our institutions working at all, it will end in civil war, for real. It's not going to be something that we could just stave off by saying, well, civil war wouldn't be very smart. Eventually people are going to act. And this is encouraging that. And for Jen Psaki to do that, and the media to just fucking be this is fine. We're not even going to say anything about it. Yeah. It's just so patently absurd after the January 6th, everything. And they're just fucking liars. And that's, I think, sorry for cussing multiple times, but that's what's so.
You're apologizing to me. That's hilarious. But
I know. But that's what it comes down to. People are just gaslighting constantly. They're liars. And it's really, honestly, it's just, I'm sick of it.
I'll agree with you on a couple things. I do agree that they're fucking liars, but I also when you're talking about how this is going to lead to the overthrow of democracy and all that type of stuff, and I'm just you're making me like Jen Psaki more. Stop, please stop.
Let's go with an example here, right? Let's just play this out. What happens if one of these protesters assassinates one of the 5 conservative justices? What happens? Because the left, Jen Psaki would be oh, that's really tragic. Oh no, Roe won't be overturned. Oh no, as a conservative.
What do you think happens if they kill?
Well, this is where the Tim Pool thing is a really good question. Mm-hmm. How far are we willing to go? I don't know. I don't know, but I'll tell you that all things would be justified in that scenario. So, what happens? I don't know.
Define all things.
But they're encouraging it to get there. They want it to get there. They want that to happen.
What do you mean by all things? I mean, obviously, I'm not in favor of that happening.
I'm not out of my euphemisms. Yes. I don't know how you have any sort of republic that functions when you can assassinate your opponents.
Sure. Yeah.
And when the institutions sanction it. That is the territory where I think Poole is right.
Yeah, and I agree with Tim that we're certainly in the throes of something, and whether you want to call it civil war or something else, I mean, it's kind of undeniable at this point that we're like living in parallel dimensions with crazy people, and they lie through their teeth nonstop. So I don't know, like I don't know if it'll ever get hot. I mean, what even does that mean when we've got violence? Like what is hot civil war even if not violence over political disagreements?
Hot is fighting back right
Yeah.
now. Like mob is one-sided, and so there hasn't been actual fighting outside of like the Proud Boys, right? And
Yeah.
once the fighting starts, then the looting starts.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on, Jen Psaki, I mean, this is like her last dying wish is for insurrection, apparently, outside of Supreme Court justices' houses. And because she's on her way out, and she's going to be replaced by, of course, the black lesbian reboot, Karine Jean-Pierre. John, you got it. As always, I do not care what your race is, do not care what your gender is, do not care what your orientation is. Stop trying to make me care. Like, the world that you're looking for, the equality and all that shit, is where we all stop caring about this stuff and just accept people as people. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because the Biden administration is gloating about it. Like, this is a selling point for them, just like Ketanji Brown Jackson. Like, oh, I don't know who it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be a black woman just because that's what we do now. And yeah, so I hate this because this lady is going into this position, and of course everybody's just like, well, it's a diversity hire again. Like, this is like the fourth or fifth time that they've just been like, oh, it's got to be a black woman, obviously. Like, it's discrediting any qualifications that she has outside of her skin color. But John, what are your thoughts on the black lesbian reboot of Jen Psaki?
Well, I actually support this because I am a huge racist, actually.
Nice.
I absolutely cannot stand white progressive women. I think they're the worst.
Yeah.
They are absolutely awful. And so getting Jen Psaki out of there was huge. And so that's where my racism comes in. I know it's a problem, but but I just have kind of embraced it. Like, I cannot stand white progressive women. They're the worst. So yeah,
you could take out progressive even, and that statement would still stand.
So I guess I support this. It's a huge improvement. Good job, Joe Biden. Get Jen Psaki out of there. This is great.
That's right.
And it'll be great.
I like how they say openly gay. Like, of course, they're implying that there were gay people before and they just weren't open about it because it's not safe or whatever. But she's the first openly gay. The way I read this is Jen Psaki is a lesbian, and this is their way of outing her.
Oh, could be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at her. Oh, fuck you. Come on, John. This is the show of speculation.
Hey, I'm giving you some fire. I'm all in on it.
I suppose I'll let it slide. All right. So moving on, we also have Cato Institute was really stoked about this as well. Cato Institute, very famous, very based, edgy libertarian Cato Institute. For roughly the first 2 decades of American independence, no black or gay person and no woman could aspire to be the White House press secretary. First off, they couldn't aspire to be the White House press secretary? Was that not legal?
No.
They couldn't they weren't allowed to dream even. Man, I didn't know how bad they had it. But
actually, the funny thing about this is I'm pretty sure there wasn't even a press secretary until the 1930s. So for roughly the first 2 centuries of American independence, nobody could. Because nobody could even think of it.
Oh, it's bad. And my response to them, of course, was, how many black lesbians have been the CEO of Cato Institute?
Hashtag Cato so white. Oh,
yep. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you're a company that is pretty damn white. Not that I care about that either. I don't care about that any more than I care about this. But you're pretending to care about putting black lesbians in positions of power, it sounds like, and this is a brave moment. You could have done that a long time ago. What are you guys waiting for, Cato?
yeah, I mean, obviously we should condemn them for being racist and bigots, but I think they're just so desperate to be loved. They see the yellow that she's wearing there, very flattering color, and they think it's a signal. It's a libertarian signal. It's not. I'm sorry, Aledo. Like nobody wants you, right? But yeah.
CD says, "Bitch, I can aspire to be anything I want." We've got some white woman listeners, and they know their value.
I aspire to become a black woman someday, so we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes. Now, I did want to watch a little bit of Jen Psaki anointing, what's her name? Karine Jean Pierre. Get a shorter name, people. I don't know.
KJP.
What?
That's what we do out here. Everything, when you can't pronounce a name, you use 3 initials. So KJP.
That's right. KJP up in here.
Notorious.
That's right. John, have you watched this?
I have not, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing, but I'll save my thoughts.
Been a bit of an exciting day around here. I just want to start by, I'm going to cry. Okay. Whew. I want to talk about my friend Karine. You've got to come up here. I just want to take the opportunity to celebrate and congratulate my friend, my colleague,
This is so weird.
my partner in truth, Karine Jean Pierre, the next White House press secretary.
For the audio listeners, she's like all giddy and bubbly, which is very strange look for Jen Psaki, but they got their arms around each other, and it's like, oh, my sis, oh, yeah, we're cool. Like, I don't know, like, if a man was the press secretary and he was bringing in another official, like the press secretary of the White House and the Biden administration, and a guy was introducing another guy who was going to be taking over, I don't know. I just feel like it would be a little different than this.
Well, your theory may be right. We'll find out.
Now, many people in this room have known her.
And they go on to, like, she just brags about how black and how lesbian she is or something. And they talk about her credentials and whatnot. Like, I don't have anything against this person at all until I see what they've done. Do you have any back history on this individual, John?
No, I'm sure she's qualified. I mean, you basically just have to lie to the American people
right.
and, shill the far left's crazy talking points.
Yep.
Shouldn't be that hard of a job. But yeah, I'm sure she'll do great at it. Better than Jen.
Yeah. And that's another thing that makes the Cato Institute's post very odd. Like, you're a libertarian organization who's like, yay, the person who lies for the president now in the establishment is now represented by a black lesbian. Like, one of these things outweighs the other. Like, she's there to interpret war crimes, basically, and gloss over them and be the propaganda mouthpiece for the establishment. But because she's a black lesbian, it's a good thing.
We droned 1,000 people in some far-off land, but I am black and gay, and I'm telling you this. Please report on that aspect of this history.
Yeah. How long do you think it'll be before everybody? I mean, they know what they're doing. They're putting somebody in there that anytime somebody attacks them, that person is a racist and a homophobe or whatever. Like, they know what they're doing, and it's not a dumb strategy, but I don't know. How do you think this will work out?
I mean, who knows? I mean, she may. I don't know the internals of their press office there. She probably is just the best person for the job, but I mean, it's just going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of the same, and I will say this for Jen Psaki, who I'm not a big fan of. I just appreciate all the honest things she said on accident over the last 2 years, telling us that Biden's administration was fully supportive of 8-year-olds getting sex changes and abortion on demand all the way through birth. Like, thank you, Jen Psaki. The commercials are going to be great. You're going to be a superstar this fall. Literally every APP ad is going to have Jen Psaki in it. It's going to be wonderful.
Absolutely. And they do continue on with she holds her hand for the entire rest of the 3-minute love fest.
First out LGBTQ plus person to serve in this role.
Holding it
which
passionately.
Is because
it's almost like, I don't know, like she's introducing a new kid to the class, and she's like, be nice to my new friend here. I want you all to meet. Like, it's super weird. But
the thing about this, and this is how I would feel if I were in Kareen's position. It's so weird. Like, this is not how it's done any other way.
Right.
Like, to say like,
seems condescending.
Like, special, not because Kareen is doing this and she's achieved this momentous, occasion in her career, but because of what group she belongs to. But look, this is like crack to the left.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just obsessed with this stuff. Like, I guarantee you,
They're
like, not
masturbating.
even joking, thousands of progressive activists were at home watching this on TV bawling. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you and I are making fun of this, but like, for real, like, their religion is all about this stuff. It's amazing.
How long do you think it'll take for the porn parody of this interaction to come out?
It's already out, dude. Rule 34. Come on.
Probably.
You thought it.
That's true.
You're an artist. Let's see what you do.
No, I'm good. I'm real busy. Anyway, we do have to talk about Biden briefly. There's not much in Biden because he's, I don't know, he hasn't said much lately, which is, pretty typical.
You doing okay? Is he alive? Do we know? Like, weekend at Biden's?
Alive-ish, but of course, if we are going to talk about Biden, we have to set this up, and this brings us to our segment that we call Remembering Biden.
And Corn Pop was a nigger, big shot. Nazi fags. You ain't black.
You're a stupid son of a bitch.
Now, as John rethinks his decision to come on here, let's talk about Joe Biden.
We've thought it a few times. I keep coming back to yes.
Yes. This is a clip that was going around, and quite frankly, I'm just baffled. But just here we go.
Why do you believe so many Americans believe that your administration is not doing enough to combat inflation? And do you believe that you and your administration bear some measure of responsibility for the inflation that we're seeing across the country?
First is we're in power. That's the first thing. And you justifiably right, we control all three branches of the government.
So, the reason why inflation is up is because he's in power. Is that what we're going with? I mean, in fairness, the first question was like, why do people think it's your fault? But really, the question is, why is it your fault? And his answer is, because we're here. Duh, dummy. Come on.
Come on, Jack.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they are in power. And that's what's going to hurt them in the midterms. I think people saw all the spending, and that'll be something Cato can celebrate. Like,
right.
Yeah, $6 trillion deficit, but hey, found out from a black lesbian press secretary, so that was pretty cool.
That's right.
But yeah, no, he's nonsensical. I think there was another part of that clip, right? Because I remember he's talking about growth and.
There wasn't in this clip, but okay. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, he basically is like, oh yeah, well, inflation's good. You know, like that means we're growing. And it's
right.
like, yeah,
we're inflating. The country's getting bigger, folks. Come on.
Credit card debt. Come on, I work for the credit card companies. They're loving this. What are you talking about?
That's right. Now, we have talked a lot today about some Republican stuff, which makes me feel dirty and all, but we do have to point out, I feel you. I understand. You guys are going through a lot. There's a lot of censorship for the Republicans. Libertarians are feeling that censorship as well. There's lots of stuff. And the person who has suffered the most, obviously, is Ronnie Jackson, because Gmail is actively suppressing emails from Republicans from hitting your inbox straight to spam. This is election interference. Big tech is out of control.
There is some truth to this, believe it or not.
Sure. While there may be some truth to this, just Google the definition of spam, bud. Like, what does it say? Is it exactly what you're doing? And if so, maybe like if you are sending out emails to mass amounts of people and they're going to spam, it's because it's spam, probably.
I will say this, and I don't understand it. We used to, when I worked for Bobby Schilling's campaign, we had to do email fundraising to our list to try to get small dollar donors. And I remember being like, a little bit gimmicky, but like, they're coming for us. Like, they just announced this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And somebody discovered along the way in the last few years that the best way is to just beat the shit out of whoever you're sending it to and make them feel like an asshole. And so it just started like, Donald Trump is disappointed in you. Why won't you give us money? And so every text I get, every email I get is
And that's
like,
from Republicans?
demanding, and it's not nice. And so I have a Democrat friend of mine, and I was talking to them, and I asked them about this. And they're like, oh, no, ours are just like, join a coalition, like be a part of this big thing. Here, give us $3.
So are these the GOP emails that you're talking about that are bashing people over the head?
GOP emails are a little bit more hostile. Now, it must work or they wouldn't do it. So I think, old GOP donors just feel really bad if Donald Trump is disappointed in them.
Yes.
But
he is literally God. And you have sinned by not donating or giving your tithe to the church.
So I will say the way Republican emails are written, it's believable to me that there could be just a mistake here with the algorithm, that Republicans get caught up in it more. But the numbers from this Blockbuster reporting, I forget which outlet it came out from, but it does seem like it was a little bit more deliberate. Sure. And look, I mean, this is small dollar fundraising is critical to the Republicans now that the left is basically hijacked, corporate America.
Money?
Yeah,
money in general.
Every Republican presidential campaign is going to be underfunded compared to the Democrat now.
Yeah.
So, if they take this avenue away from us, I would say it's a pretty big deal.
I suppose, but
I mean, make the emails nicer. I mean, come on. It's so frustrating. They also do this thing, and it's like 7,000% match. Okay, I know that's not happening. If I give you $1, I want to see the $70.
Right.
That's bullshit. We all know it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think they're all full of shit. And I need to migrate off of all the Google platforms, but it's so convenient. It's so hard to give up, but Elon Musk just needs to go buy Google, I suppose. That's next.
That's next. He's got to turn Twitter into a $1 trillion company, which he will, and then he can take the Twitter shares and leverage that to buy Google.
Yes,
it's a dream. I like it. President Elon.
Yes, I agree. I don't know if Google is. I mean, I'm sure that they are. The thing is, we're to a point where I've seen it so much that it's like, yeah, you're probably right, but also maybe bring a screenshot or something to prove your point, and not just my spam is going to spam. I'm being attacked. It's a conspiracy. Like, you probably are. Let's be honest, and it probably is a conspiracy. But also, you sound like an idiot on Twitter. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think that's a real problem, is that we just gotten, we're the abused spouse. Like, we're just used to it now. And you know what? We probably deserve it. That's what you just said. You're the abused spouse. I probably deserve it. They should shut down. The system is down. Yep. Schweppe was a little too hot on the mic tonight.
Yep. It's the spiciest episode I've ever had. Speaking of spicy, communism. Ron DeSantis is back in the news because of the, I think it's called the Don't Be a Fucking Communist Day holiday or something. Celebration? Something that's coming up. We do have his clip talking about it a little bit. We'll play that, and then, we'll wrap with this.
Today, I am signing HB 395, which will officially designate November 7th as Victims of Communism Day to honor the more than 100 million people who have fallen victim to communist regimes across the world.
Rule number 1, if your audience is small, don't zoom out. Just
That's
saying,
true.
From a video guy perspective. Like, don't zoom past the last empty chair.
Right there.
Yes.
Yeah, right there.
Should have stopped it right about here. Because it looks real full up there, but whatever, doesn't matter.
We want to make sure that every year, folks in Florida, but particularly our students,
Rule number 2, don't do whatever this is.
About the evils of communism. The dictators that have led communist regimes in the hundreds.
Wait, did they realize that it looked bad? And they're like, oh, shit. Stop showing the empty chairs. And they're like, oh, just zoom it up or pan it up. And then they're like, all right, now let's zoom back in. And they do zoom it. I didn't notice this earlier when I watched it, but they zoom it right to about where we said, like the last head there, to make it look like it's more full. And they panned up real quick to make sure, to memory wipe you or something. Those chairs are empty, folks.
Millions of individuals who suffered and continue to suffer under the weight of this discredited ideology. Now, there are a lot of people out there who will promote things like socialism and communism, but I think one of the things we've seen is a lot of young people don't really know that much about what communism meant in practice and continues to mean in different parts of the world. You can.
Now, obviously, you're going to praise this because you're a Republican guy.
Yes!
I do, too, quite frankly. I don't think it's non-libertarian to, for our country that, has seen a lot of suffering from communism throughout history. I don't think this is any different than teaching about slavery and the horrors of slavery in school, which Ron DeSantis is also not opposed to, believe it or not. Like, stuff that, history, warnings, guys, like, he's right. The people that are all about communism, I feel like they haven't done really all that much digging. They bought a Che Guevara t-shirt at some point, which, John, I'm pretty sure you had a Che Guevara t-shirt in high school.
I tell people that. It's okay,
Yeah.
I'm allowed to evolve.
Yep. If only you'd gotten better. But they you have to you can't know all the stuff and still be like, let's try it, and this time we're going to get it right. Like, all the times that it has failed miserably, maybe it's just because communism hasn't, been implemented properly. But yeah, John, give me your thoughts. Actually, so to clarify, he's setting up a day I think it's November 7th. He's making it like a holiday or something, like national, or I guess it would just be local, whatever. But the Communist Victims Remembrance Day or something to that effect. And also he's making it so they have to teach a certain amount of communist history in schools, in public schools. And I'm also fine with that because, I mean, my solution to that, if you have a problem with it, is abolish public schools entirely, and I'm perfectly pro that. But if we're going to have public schools, I have nothing against them teaching about things that have failed miserably in the past, like communism, and getting it out of these kids' heads. I don't know. What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, all education is indoctrination. So, like, if you oppose indoctrination, you should just oppose education, or public education anyway.
Yes.
But the reality here is, I think DeSantis is right. We have a whole generation of kids who think Nazis are bad, but communists are fine.
Right.
Communists killed more people than Nazis. I mean, Nazis are obviously bad, but let's put communists on the same level, at least. And
so what you're saying is communism is good and Nazis are better.
that is what you're trying to do. If you look at the death count, look at math, okay? But
math is racist.
The thing is, like, I think, we should be learning about that. We should be learning why Nazis are bad. We should be learning why communists are bad. The reason the left doesn't want to have this and doesn't want to celebrate Victims of Communism Day is because they're a bunch of communists.
Yeah.
And, look, my attitude is, I think the only way to fix this is to burn it all. No! To the ground. Burn
Dramatic.
the commies. Thank you.
Nice.
Almost worked on the first try.
Wait, what are we burning to the ground exactly?
The communists. That's
okay. John calls for burning communists.
It's Fuck Communism Day, and I support this. And I appreciate based Governor Ron DeSantis for implementing Fuck Communism Day.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know, like, I think it's brilliant, frankly, because it's going to certainly help him get some Cuban votes down there. And it's also, like, I mostly think is brilliant because he's setting it up like these people have to disagree with Ron DeSantis on everything, just like they did with Trump. Everything he says is wrong. And if they don't agree or they don't disagree with it hard enough, they'll just call it something different that they can adamantly disagree with, like the Don't Say Gay bill. They'll just make it up and then be mad at that. Yeah.
They'll just lie.
Yeah. And so with this, it's like he's calling it like something very clear. It's not like parents' choice of this and that or something that nobody will ever remember. I never remember the actual name of the Don't Say Gay bill. We only ever remember the Don't Say Gay bill because it's memorable. At least with this one, it's like victims of communism, like cut and dry. That's what this is. That's what we're talking about here. And now in doing that, the Democrats, unless they spin it into something else, they have to come out and oppose this because they have to oppose everything. And when they do, they're going to have to adamantly endorse communism like out loud now. I know that they do endorse it, but it's kind of like, oh no, it's democratic socialism, or it's this or that watered down version. It's not scary, and you just don't understand that it's not scary. Now he's forcing them to come out and say, no, we condone communism, and I don't think that's a very good strategy for them to do. But do you think they'll take the bait on this, John?
No, I think they won't on this because they do understand that communism is bad politically. But, look, they're going to continue to – I think they'll say he's trying to indoctrinate, that he's trying to push stuff. And weren't you just talking about, like, how it's bad to indoctrinate kids? Yes, it's bad to tell 5-year-olds about sex shit. Yeah, right. Yes. With this, I think it's just important to know history. Like, it's actually objectively true that communism has been an evil force on this planet, and it's killed millions of people. And if we want to write an accurate history, we should be able to talk about that. Yeah. You don't have to. I don't know. I think it's good. He's really smart. He knows exactly the right buttons to push. He's going to win re-election in a landslide and probably become the president.
Quite possibly. Do you think he'll run against Trump?
I do.
Really?
I do. I don't know that, but
do you think he'd win?
I do.
Wow.
I do. I think
you thought Trump would win last time too, though, didn't you?
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. But I didn't count on the cheating. Did you? Do you remember Chris Christie in 2012? There's a lot of speculation he would run, and he probably could have had the nomination if he would have. It was the highest his star ever was, and then he chose not to, thinking I'll run in 2016 when it's not against Obama, and then he lost, right?
Yeah.
And I think in politics, if you have the ability to become the president, you go for it. I don't think you wait for a better time because it might never come. And the reality is, I think Ron DeSantis is the dream candidate for a lot of Republicans right now because he's going after these institutions. He's great on social issues, but like he's governing in the way we would like a president to govern.
And he's smarter than Trump. Let's be honest. He's more. Trump had some decent ideas, I'll give you that, but when it comes to actually presenting it in a way that will get it will still rally the people that support this type of thing, but it will also not push people away just because it's brash assholery, I think.
Yeah, well, I would happily vote for Trump for a third time. I really would, but I just think that DeSantis has a huge upside, and I'd really like to see him run.
Yeah, there is a part of me that wants Trump to be the nominee against Biden because
it'd be so fun.
An entertainment factor. Also, that would single-handedly give Dave Smith of the Libertarian Party a better shot at making some waves.
Is he going to be the guy? Are you going to be the VP?
No, I would never. But he's talking about doing it.
He's in a tough spot with that. I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some stuff's cooking. There's the Libertarian National Convention is coming up in 2 weeks, and we're currently in the process of taking over the party, and it's looking good. I don't want to count my chickens before they birth or something, but it's looking good. It's looking like some things could happen. But on this DeSantis thing, I think it is. I'm really. The more I grow and learn about the world and then hear these things that we're arguing about whether or not they should be taught in school, it's like, why wasn't this already in the curriculum as far as like in history class? You would think how governments run and which ones failed miserably and which ones wiped out, societies. You would think that would come up at some point.
I think it's almost, I don't know if it's deliberate, but it seems like our history classes, and I remember this, they go to 1945 and then they stop, right? And I wonder if that's because of the creep of communism and because it's a left-wing ideology and they don't want us to know about it. But it's obviously a huge part of what happened in the 20th century.
Yeah.
And people just don't know. Stalin was absolutely brutal on the level of Hitler, on the same level. Not trying to say higher, not trying to say lower, same level. Okay, yeah. Both in a special place in hell. But it's weird that we don't talk about it, and I think it's intentional. I think it is because the left is they're at least ideological cousins to communism.
Yeah, completely unrelated. I think the only time I really heard about communism in high school was when one of our teachers said that he was a communist, and turns out he was also a pedophile. Anyway, allegedly. John, thank you for being here today. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to say before you go? Any final disavows?
Disavow everything, including everything I said. Follow me on Twitter. It's pretty spicy, but not this spicy. Okay, just to be clear. Thanks for having me.
It's like Republican spicy, so it's like mayonnaise spicy.
It's bad enough that I got a hit piece written on me in Politico, so that was cool. I did, yeah. They I was working with Democrats on some antitrust stuff, and they tried to use me. The big tech shills tried to use me against them, saying, "Why would you partner with this anti-trans bigot? He compared trans people to furries." Yeah, I know. I just said there's a lot of furries on Twitter because there are a lot of furries on Twitter. It's a real thing.
So is it a bad thing to compare trans people to furries? Like, which one are we shaming here in saying that this is a bad comparison?
No, I think what I said was that there was a huge overlap between the trans and furry communities. It wasn't actually like attacking furries, but people took it as an attack on trans people because I guess furries aren't acceptable socially yet.
It's where we draw the line. Like, you can cut your dick off and all that, but if you put on a costume, no.
Yeah, which, I mean, I do think we should draw a line somewhere before there. It's like the PETA thing. Like, no, furries, not going to eat. No, absolutely not. Right.
Hashtag eat furries. Anti-PETA and anti-furry, all in one delicious swipe.
Yes.
Anyway, John, you were saying something.
Moral story, furries, yiff in hell. Thank you for having me. We got through it, Dan. I think we did it, and there wasn't too much. I know, CD. I know.
CD says John thinks cursing twice is spicy.
Hey, I cursed several times.
That's right. Proud of you. You're growing. But John, tell people where they can. First off, thank you for being here. Always a pleasure having you, and it's exciting. I'm proud of you doing the Tim stuff and everything that you got going on. I think it's awesome, and hat goes off to you. But tell people where they can find out about you and American Principles Project, or whatever it's called, APP.
Yeah. So my group is American Principles Project, PLES. You can find us at AmericanPrinciplesProject.org. We have a new report out, which I'd love you guys to read. It's Big Tech versus Democracy, talking all about how they stole the 2020 election. It's pretty good, pretty spicy. Yeah, you can find it right there on the website.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, yeah, thanks for being here. And you can go. I know we've kept you kind of over time.
Hanging up.
Okay. We'll see you later, man. All right. Guys, thank you for being here. A shorter one today than usual, but this is kind of the length that ideally we can stay within. That would be great. Do you guys prefer longer, or do you prefer shorter? If you shut up. I didn't mean it that way. Do you prefer the longer episodes? Because no matter how long this main episode goes, we're still doing the after party. I've still got a bunch of shit planned, and we're still going to keep this thing going. If you like the longer stuff, we are going to go longer here. So go get it at patreon.com/thesystemisdown. But let me know, Dan at tsidpod.com, or hey, where's my ticker? Where's my stuff here? That's supposed to say my stuff. Where's my stuff? I don't know where my stuff is. Dan at I'll just say them all. Dan at tsidpod.com is the email. You can P.O. Box me. P.O. Box 84, Aledo, Illinois, 61231. John's hometown. That's right. I'm back. I'm still here. But yeah, you can call in, leave a voicemail at 309-716-3818, or do all the stuff. Hit me up on the socials, and at TSIDpod on Twitter is my main social that I use these days. And yeah, let's hang. And speaking of hang, we are going to go longer and hang longer and keep this thing going. So get over there, and in about 5 minutes, we'll kick off the after party, and we've got some spicy stuff to talk about, like the crazier side of things. Like I said, more weird, more raw, more offensive, more just weird, mostly. We're talking about some Nephilim giants, and we're talking about some... What else was on the docket? There's so many things. Nephilim giants. We've got pig heart virus man. We've got pregnant men, which is a thing. We're talking about Amber Heard and some of her crazy antics. So lots of fun stuff. If you like the weirder side of life, come on over and let's hang out. But until next time, guys, I think Monday we might be having on Angela McArdle to roast her, to grill her, whatever, before leading up to Reno. And tomorrow I will be on the Reality Czars podcast at noon corn time, so tune into that as well. But yeah, that's it for here, and let me find my button, and we will go. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, question everything, stay uncomfortable. I'll see you in the after party, and peace out. Nope.
Welcome to the world.
That's not it. Hold on, and peace out.
Welcome to the system. Everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. GoulashMedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day.